I've seen plenty of videos and articles full of tips for effective pocket hole joinery, but one of the most neglected parts of the subject is perhaps the most important to successful joints, the screws that you use. In this video, I'll give you some tips for choosing the right screws for your next pocket hole project. Now technically, you may be able to use any screw in a pocket hole. So why do most manufacturers of pocket hole cutters recommend specific screws? Because screws that are specifically designed for pocket hole joinery have certain features that can help you better align your workpieces, avoid splits, and increase the overall strength of your joint. Let's start with the shape of the screw head. Screws made for driving into pockets have heads that are designed to properly seat against the end of that pocket. The most common styles are washer head and fillister head, which are sometimes called cheese head. The compact shape of a fillister head slightly compresses the fibers at the bottom of the pocket as it's driven home. This helps prevent stripping as compared to a washer head with its larger, flat underside that provides little room for error when you're tightening it in place. Washer head screws are easier to strip within a hole than fillister head screws are. On the other hand, the larger diameter of a washer head provides more surface area, which some claim creates a stronger joint in materials such as particle board and melamine. A washer head, though, does require a larger pocket than a fillister head screw, and its shape is more suited to jigs that create drilled pockets than those that cut routed pockets. Coarse threads are often recommended for softwoods because they provide a little more grip in those softer fibers. Fine threads are designed for hardwoods because they displace less material within the hole and are therefore less prone to splitting. The best of both worlds, though, is a high-low screw thread, which features a combination between coarse and fine threads and may therefore be used in both hard and softwood as well as a variety of manufactured materials. Perhaps what most sets a proper pocket screw apart from a regular screw is the self-drilling tip, which bores its own pilot hole while it's driven in place. This type of tip is essential due to the fact that a pocket hole jig only bores a pilot hole in one of the two workpieces to be joined. If you were to drive a regular wood or construction screw into a pocket hole joint, you might split your mating workpiece. Therefore, I believe that self-drilling tip that's found on a proper pocket screw is essential. Choosing the proper screw length for the job can be a little confusing as there are a lot of choices available. An 1.25 inch long screw is ideal for most woodworking that's done with 3/4 inch thick stock. If you work with a lot of 1/2 inch thick material, you may require some shorter 1 inch screws on hand. And perhaps you'll also want some longer 1.5 inch screws for when you work with thicker materials. Every pocket hole jig manufacturer has some sort of chart to tell you what length of screw you may need based upon the thickness of the material you're using. But it's still always a good idea to do an eyeball test just to be sure you have the right screw for the job. It's worth pointing out that Castle pocket hole cutting machines in particular allow you to adjust the distance between the pocket and the end of the board, so you may use one screw length with a wide variety of material thicknesses. This is a handy feature that I think is unique to that machine. It's very useful. Phillips head screws are a poor choice for pocket hole joinery because the bit will easily cam out of the screw head when you're driving at an angle. For this reason, pocket screws are typically found with Torx star-shaped heads or with Nicholson square-shaped heads. Both are less likely to slip and strip than Phillips heads when you're driving them in. But which is the best choice? It may depend on how you load your screws. If you typically slip the screw into the pocket and then you place the bit on the screw, then you may find a Torx head best because it's least likely to slip even if the driver is not perfectly aligned. On the other hand, if you like to preload the screw onto the driver and then insert it into the pocket, you may find a square head stays on the tool better as you're putting it in. That said, the angle of the screw pocket itself can also be a factor in choosing the correct drive. For example, this machine cuts a pocket at a very shallow 3 degrees. There are a lot of benefits to a 3-degree pocket, but some folks tend to hold their driver at steeper angles. Perhaps 6 or 7 degrees is more comfortable. A square drive tends to keep your screw aligned with the driver whatever angle you're holding it at. So you may inadvertently change the angle at which the screw enters the mating piece, and that could reduce the benefits of your shallow pocket. In that case, a Torx drive would be a better choice because it gives the screw a little more freedom to follow the pilot hole rather than the angle of the driver. Other jigs bore pockets at a steeper 15-degree angle, which is compatible with any type of driver, though you lose the benefits of the shallow angled pocket. Most of the time, glue is not necessary with pocket hole joinery. That's one of its benefits, that you may be able to disassemble the project later. This is great for shop furniture, such as cabinets and benches, because you can easily make alterations as your needs change. But sometimes you may want glue in addition to the screws. For example, a joint that will be visible, such as where the rail meets a stile in a face frame. This will benefit from some glue to secure the fibers together and ensure the seam always remains tight and gap-free. Pocket screws are also sometimes used for the specific purpose of just holding a glued joint together as it dries, eliminating the need for clamps. I personally prefer a Philister head screw with a Torx drive. I work with a lot of 3/4 inch stock, so I use a lot of 1.25 inch long screws, and I like the high-low thread that's compatible with all types of materials. I'll put a link to the specific screws I use below this video if you want to check them out. I hope this answers your questions and helps make your next pocket hole project a success. See you next time. Castle USA makes the best pocket hole cutters I have ever used. They cut clean pockets with no tear out, and they cut at an ultra low angle that creates an easier to assemble joint, which is better aligned for greater strength. Check out their machines at the link below the video, and you may never look at pocket hole joinery in the same way again. Wait, don't go yet. If you're new here, please subscribe, and remember to ring the bell. I would really appreciate that. Give us a thumbs up, or better yet, leave us a comment. I always read them. And be sure to check out the latest issue of Stumpy Nubs Woodworking Journal. It's always packed with tips, tricks, and tutorials designed to make you a better woodworker.